Hi, my name is Rosemary Guess, and today I'm going to talk about how I survived in Los Angeles as an artist. It's different for each individual, so that's why I thought I would talk about my personal experience and how I survived living there for 7 years. So my reason for moving to Los Angeles was pursuing my dreams of becoming an actress. Before I moved to Los Angeles, I actually worked in production. I graduated from the University of Oregon with a bachelor's in cinema studies. If you want to know what that is, it's essentially like English class, but instead of talking about the theories and themes of books, we talk about that with film. So it was really, I loved it so much. I'm such a cinema nerd. So I actually left a term early to work as an intern on a television show that was shooting here in Portland called Leverage, which was on TNT. I loved working on that show. It was tough because working as a PA, you work minimum 12 hours a day. Sometimes we'd work 16 hours, and it was grueling. I mean, you have to be up at 5 something in the morning sometimes. Like a lot of my call times would be like 5:36 a.m. or 5:14 a.m. I learned so many valuable skills, but I still wasn't satisfied because what I really wanted to do was act, but I had no confidence, I had no training. Also, getting from my mom growing up, I'm Asian, my mom's Asian, there was this pressure to become a doctor or a lawyer, and obviously, since I majored in cinema studies, I remember when I started college, I was trying like chemistry classes and this and that, but I just had no interest in it and I had no desire to do any of that. So I eventually switched to English major, and then the cinema studies major came out, and then I was on the right path. I think one of the most valuable lessons I learned is that there's no reason to be self-conscious as an actor. A lot of people going into acting worry that everyone's going to be paying attention to them on set, or that they put so much pressure on themselves thinking about things that are outside of the scene, when really just keep your full attention on the scene because that's your job. As a PA, like I didn't care what the actors' performances were. I know the lighting guy didn't. They were focusing on their job. How does the lighting look? Or the props man, keeping track of where the prop is within the scene. Basically, the crew is just hoping that there's no drama, there's no diva action, just so we can go home to our families and so that it doesn't end up being a 16-hour day, which that comes from all aspects of the filming. There's so many things that come into play on set that could turn it into from a 12-hour day to a 16-hour day. Or sometimes you get to go home early, which I don't remember having any of those days. Working in film is not great for people who want a very regimented schedule. You have to be able to work on the fly, solve problems, be easy to work with, although there are some people that weren't easy to work with. I moved to Los Angeles one time first, and I was still working in production. I worked on a clip show where I just was in front of a computer all day looking for clips, which they would rate. It was kind of like a Tosh.0 type thing. It never aired. So I worked on that, moved back to Los Angeles to be an actor's personal assistant, and then I worked on Real World Portland. And then after that, I wasn't doing what I wanted to do. I wanted to act, and I had taken some classes in Portland, but I knew that I was never going to get the high quality training that I needed to gain a very solid technique for acting. I was offered some production coordinating jobs, and I didn't take them because I knew that I could not go to class. I could not audition if I was working for 12 hours a day. So now let's get into the jobs that I did work while I was acting, and those kind of jobs are waitressing and serving. Most of the time, you can get a shift either in the morning or the evening, so that leaves half of your day to schedule. If an audition comes up, you can still work on it, prepare for it, plus go to it, or you can reschedule. There's also a lot of, there's a lot of high turnover in service jobs too, so a lot of people that you can text like, hey, I have an audition, can you fill in for me? I personally am really horrible at service jobs and hospitality jobs because I am an introverted extrovert, so I only have a certain amount of extroverted energy. And I think most people that meet me think that I'm so extroverted. Oh, she's so extroverted, she's so confident, da 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 da. No, I get so tired so fast. Interacting with people, I get energy from it for a little bit, and then after about 3 hours, I am just, I'm so tired. And it's such a chore to be like, hi, how are you today? Where can I seat you? My face is like, I can't wait to go home and just not smile. It wasn't exactly my forte, but you gotta do what you gotta do to pursue your dreams. One of the major jobs that I've done since I was 16 is brand ambassador work. I guess I should explain what brand ambassador work is. So a brand ambassador represents a brand, and you can find them at concerts, sporting events, fairs, farmers markets, anywhere, movie premieres. I would get paid from $20 to $45 an hour, which was awesome. And the reason that they pay you a little bit more is because it's temp work, and it's an incentive to make sure that you're going to show up at the job. There's a lot of people coming and going in brand ambassador work, and the agencies want to know that you are responsible, that you're going to show up on time. With brand ambassadors, there's some that work exclusively for certain brands, you know, Red Bull girls, Monster chicks. But what I did was I had agencies that I was a part of, and then they would call me up and say, hey, we have the Toyota job at Stagecoach. Can you work this? And I'd say yes or no, and then they'd book me. And thankfully, I gained quite a rapport with the agents that I was working with. So oftentimes hundreds, sometimes even thousands of people will apply for the same job. So it's kind of hard to get brand ambassador work when you don't have a reputation with the agency yet. Sometimes they would just call me and be like, hey, we know you're reliable. We know you're personable. We know you're going to do a good job. Can you do this job? I'd say yes. What's difficult about brand ambassador work is that it is hard to cancel out and to get shifts switched, and sometimes you can kind of get blacklisted from a company because they're really looking for someone that's going to do it, because it's hard work for them to try to replace you, and sometimes their clients pick you specifically because of your look or your headshot, and then if they have to replace you, it can kind of hurt their relationship with the client. And there's just a lot of flaky people in general, so if you're new with the company and you're calling out or switching out, then they probably just don't want to hire you in the future because it's going to be extra work for them. Another great thing about brand ambassador work is that you can work these conventions. So for example, I'd work at VidCon, and so that's all weekend. It will be a convention that's open from, I don't know, sometimes 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. So you get a ton of hours, you get a great rate, and you can work a couple weekends in a row and you'll be good for that month, and you're good, you're set for your rent, you can pay your gas bill, you can pay your electric bill, also pay for class. Another kind of obscure job I did, which kind of went in with brand ambassador, was what are they called? You're in a costume, you're not a mannequin. Why can't I think of the word? You are a mascot. So sometimes because they need tiny people, I'm 5'2", and I'm just a short, tiny little individual, so I can fit in a lot of the costumes that they have. So I was Vegeta at AnimeCon one year. I've never seen Dragon Ball Z, and they like put me in the costume, and then the other person was Goku, and I had this like big helmet on and I couldn't hear anything. And I hear someone go, you're Vegeta, you're Goku. And I could barely hear, I didn't know who they were pointing at. So I go out there and I just hear like this V word that kind of sounds like an inappropriate word. And I was like, why is everyone calling me this? I'm very confused. And then I later found out that I was Vegeta. So what else? Audience work. There's audience work. I did that when I first went out to LA, but I stopped because it doesn't pay very much, but it is a fun experience. Was it Chelsea Handler? I sat in the audience for that, which was fun to see the taping and how it works. They always have an entertainer that they have come out ahead of time to keep the audience entertained and to keep the energy up for when the main act comes out, that our energy is up for all of the filming and the taping. Dog sitting. I was a dog sitter and house sitter, and that really helped me when I had roommates, because when I was house sitting, it got me a chance to get out of the house and have my own space for a little bit. Dog walking and house sitting is another great way to make money to survive in Los Angeles. Oh, modeling as well. So not only am I an actress, I'm a model. One year I thought, man, am I a model? I've booked way more modeling jobs than I have acting jobs. I never thought of myself as one because I'm 5'2", I'm way too short to be a model in terms of industry standards. What I will say is that it's a struggle. Well, artists don't make a lot of money in the jobs that we can get unless you really blow up. They don't pay a ton. And you have so many expenses. The rent is so high in Los Angeles, on top of all the other expenses of gas, rent, water, class. Classes are important, but they're also very pricey. A lot of actors, and specifically, are reinvesting in themselves and hoping that they get a great audition, book that commercial, because commercials pay really well. That's another job that really helped me. Booking a few commercials is great. So recently, due to COVID-19, I decided to give up my lease in Los Angeles and move to my hometown, Oregon, to save some money. And it was a really difficult decision. I couldn't justify paying rent, especially when there's not a lot of work in Los Angeles. It's been lonely. It's been difficult. I have some friends up here, thankfully. But some positive things that have happened is that my investment portfolios are looking great right now because I'm able to put more into my stocks and into Bitcoin, and it's looking and it feels good. Like I feel stable financially, so that's great. Also, upon moving to Portland, I submitted to quite a few agencies. I ended up signing with my top agencies. I plan to go back to Los Angeles next year. We'll see, kind of just playing it by ear. I have the opportunity to start this YouTube channel. I always felt, oh, what value can I bring? What do people actually want to hear or see? How can I not just put trash out into the world? So that is how I survived living in Los Angeles as an artist. Thank you so much for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. I would love to hear what your job is, how you got there, what your struggles are, and how you feel about it right now. I find it so fascinating. As an actor, I love to hear all of the individual stories out there that hopefully one day I'll be able to tell on screen. So please share, and thank you.